Welcome to Techno Decode. For the first part of Video 5 of Prophets of AI, we will both summarize and re-explain parts 1 through 4. Then for the second part, we will consider artificial general intelligence, which announces the technological singularity, where thinking machines become smarter than humans. Because of the technological singularity, the central problem of artificial general intelligence is the alignment problem, which asks, how do we align AI's goals with humanity's goals? We will consider whether French philosopher Michel Serres' treatment of AI provides a solution to the alignment problem. Part 1 of Prophets of AI discussed a paradigm shift in the modern sciences in the post-war period that marked the end of the age of agriculture and that also deeply influenced the philosophy of Michel Serres. Developments in chaos and complexity theory reversed many of the fundamental presumptions of the prior classical period, thereby resolving many deep-rooted theoretical conundrums. For instance, under classical mechanics, order is favored because it enables certainty and classification, but under modern physics, disorder is favored because emergent order, rather than predetermined order, enables novelty, singularity, and adaptation or refinement over time. Under the new paradigm, order emerges on the verge of chaos. Because emergent order is unforeseen, it cannot be determined in advance, and so this new logic thwarts simple deterministic principles. Yet emergent order still follows a higher level order of determination based on possibilities, which includes chaos or necessity. And so this is the spirit of the new logic, which includes rather than excludes chaos. And so, despite the notorious decrying of the end of metaphysics from the age of skepticism, metaphysics lives on today in modal logic and the calculation of real possibilities in the physical world. The death of God was actually just the death of determinism, which is a simple metric. Another way to frame this difference is classical time, which is linear and aligned with classical mechanics, and complex time, which is nonlinear and aligned with complexity science. Classical time is aligned with geometry, which is concerned with size, shape, and the position of objects using exact measurements. It utilizes metrics, and it's aligned with history of revolutions and hierarchical reversal. This necessitates linear mechanics where order is a sequence, and this aligns it also with entropy in the physical sciences, which is thermodynamic cooling. Basic figure is the line. Then in contrast is chaotic or complex time. It utilizes topology rather than geometry. So topology ignores rigid measurements and focuses rather on what properties are preserved when a shape is twisted, stretched, and bent. And so topology generalizes essential properties. It utilizes fractal attractors, which is where the preserved properties are in similar shapes, and it synthesizes reversals produced by classical time. And so here you'll see the alignment of subjective domains like literature with objective domains like the rigorous sciences. It aligns with nonlinear mechanics where order is distributed across time. It has to be reordered transversely across classical time. And then it aligns with negentropy in the physical sciences, which is thermodynamic heating or evolution. Basic figure then is the spiral. One of Serres' demonstrations of synthesis is his argument that modern physics, whose basic figure is the spiral, was also discovered by the ancient Roman poet Lucretius, who wrote about turbulence, whirlwinds, and whirlpools in poems, but also the ancient Greek mathematician Archimedes, who proposed a mathematical theory of spirals. Because classical time aligns with the classical sciences, it also expresses the infamous death of God, which is described as the unmasking of Jupiter in Part 4. The alleged death of God is the argument that belief in a monotheistic creator is no longer needed in a modern world with scientific advancements that have conquered nature. Under the old necessity, the natural world created the conditions for human survival, and those conditions were often harsh and indifferent to human pain and suffering. So religion served the role of mediating this tension and offered solutions for who was to blame for the evil and chaos in the world that was beyond human control, like diseases, sickness, drought, famine, catastrophe, and death. On this model, God is used to frame the problem of evil, chaos, and necessity. But now, we have conquered the natural world and we create the conditions for our own survival, not the natural world. So, Death of God theology says that because the old necessity is gone, well, so is God, and our mastery over nature has made God irrelevant. The dethroning of God to science and secularism is also the death of the humanities to the natural sciences and the social sciences, which replace the humanities with the rational logos. Scientific reasoning explains and classifies the natural world and its processes through exactitude and certainty, or measurement. Religion could no longer explain or influence the world better than science, and so religion during the age of Romanticism was reduced to sentiment in the social sphere. But then the social sciences, through judgment and criticism, have explained away and criticized the dominant power structures within the social domain. On both sides of the register, the gesture of exclusion instantiates grand hierarchical imbalances that eliminate chaos by blaming a particular subject for evil and disorder. This is the scapegoat mechanism explained in part 2. Under the scapegoat mechanism, a human is crowned king and made into a god for maintaining order and excluding chaos, whether the chaos takes the form of a human, a beast, an internal deviant, a rival, or a natural catastrophe, which may require a sacrifice to the gods. Or a king can be blamed for the chaos and sacrificed himself, fairly or unfairly, or dethroned by a stronger king. This power dynamic constitutes the anthropological roots of human and animal sacrifice, according to scapegoat logic. Serres says, essentially, even if criticism does not believe in God, it still believes in his place. It no longer believes that there is a God who created the world, but it does believe that there are one or more producers of evil, Satan or 100 demons, replacements or substitutes. As a result, criticism puts in this place all of the fathers, exploiters, whites, Westerners, logocentrism, the state, the church, reason, science, each one of which surely and often heinously is deeply implicated in this affair. These are the groups typically blamed by intelligentsia for humanity's evils: patriarchy, white privilege, colonists, imperialists, etc. All of these guises are different forms of the apex predator. Serres suggests that many of the scapegoated subjects are implicated and are in fact partially to blame for their evils. But none of these individual subjects can be blamed in totality at the exclusion of all others. All have committed evils and stand accused, just like the scapegoat who takes the blame for all. So Serres says, here's what's new. This cycle is ending for the obvious reason that it's exhausted the list of possible accused parties. Each one of us, and finally everyone, will have his turn as the accused. Who is next in this carousel of finite substitutions? But the solution is, because evils are multiple rather than singular, all are accused and partially implicated, because all commit evils. And so all must be absolved and shown mercy, forgiven, according to Serres. So judgment, or knowledge of good and evil, yields to mercy or absolution, which is true justice. With mercy, order includes rather than it excludes chaos. Ultimately, injustice, imbalance, and instability are produced by the hierarchical structure itself, which is structurally designed to maximize differences, with good and evil as the absolute maximums. It's the hierarchy that is to blame, and not the player who sits at the top. It doesn't matter which player sits at the top, because subordination is produced by the structure itself. Reversing a hierarchy quickly produces another hierarchy in its place that continues the problem of hierarchies and subordination. This type of revolution is regress advertised as progress. Under classical time, religion and the humanities and science are inversely related, meaning two variables moving in opposing directions are just opposed. So as the power of science grows, the power of religion diminishes. Science dominates, overpowers, undermines, and subordinates religion. This is classical time, which is related to geometry, metrics, and simple linear mechanics. This is precisely the relation that ontotheology and death of God theology describe. In relief, Serres posits a chaotic theory of time, because he says the development of history truly resembles what chaos theory describes, which is things that are very close can exist in culture, but the line makes them appear very distant from one another. So Serres uses chaotic or complex time to reorder events that are similar topologically. That is, they are shapes that preserve the same properties, but the time around them is bended, folded, and twisted like crumpled paper. Through complex time, Serres can produce a synthesis that, in the best case, links together two events that otherwise are held apart by the most distance according to classical time. Under complex time, religion and science are not inversely related, but rather they have a dynamic relation, which is fluid, adaptable, and unpredictable. Here, they're not rivals, but they're complementary. This type of relation produces a mixture of elements and is characteristic of modern physics and modern mathematics, including topology and nonlinear mechanics. This is precisely the relation that chaos and complexity theory study and express. Scientific development under this system progresses measurement in a way that includes rather than excludes chaos. Under complex time, all objects are a mixture of both good and evil, order and chaos. However, by including chaos in the social sphere through our scientific practices, suddenly that which is dependent upon human control, or our scientific practices, become independent of human control, because these practices now include chaos and unpredictability. So now all technical objects are unpredictable. Not only have we failed to exclude chaos, but now chaos and evil are everywhere. So this is the new necessity where our technologies and the technological industrial complex, or big tech, are chaotic. That is, they operate according to market forces and wholly independent of human control. And yet they set the conditions for our survival and increasingly the survival of planetary life. This return of chaos and necessity under complex time is really just a ruse or the effect of the poor measuring of our former method under classical time. This is why Serres says, the problem of evil underlies the power we derive from our various means of addressing it. That is, that's why it always reappears a not unexpected sire in our exercise of this power. So by seeking to exclude evil or chaos, which is impossible, we cause it to return again and again. So classical time posits a war between religion and science, but complex time combines them into a new techno-religion. The new techno-religion is not based on subjective morality or behavioral restrictions or laws, but rather objective morality, which is moral restraints embedded into our technology. And this addresses objective evil, which are chaotic technical objects that we create. This is the new necessity, where chaos can be blamed on the multiplicity of objects rather than on a singular subject or a scapegoat who can be conveniently expelled in a ritual act of sacrifice. Serres suggests that in order to address the new necessity, we need at the very least an objective morality that includes at the very minimum the obligation to avoid doing harm, which is embedded into our technical objects. And so that would be a technological infrastructure that is symbiotic rather than exploitative of the natural world. But as the best case scenario, he says we need a religion, which I'm calling here the new techno-religion, but the obligation for Serres is to love your neighbors, but also all global systems, including the individual, collective, living, and inert. Although Serres wrote a lot about artificial intelligence, he died in 2019, and so he wasn't alive to see the most recent and still pending manifestation of artificial general intelligence. Nonetheless, his philosophy overall is deeply engaged with this issue and provides important insights into problems presented by AGI and potentially a set of solutions to the AI alignment problem. The road to AI begins with Web 1.0, which set up the internet and dial-up. Then Web 2.0 with social media, which was used to feed big data. Then big data, of course, was fine-tuned with algorithms, leading to deep learning models and eventually large language models. And so now what's still pending is AGI, or superintelligence, and this would spark a moment called the technological singularity, when thinking machines become smarter than humans. This was first proposed mathematically, at least, by statistician I.J. Good in 1965, and it was later popularized by futurist Ray Kurzweil. Superintelligence poses the alignment problem, or the problem of aligning AI's goals with humanity's goals. This is tricky because if either species subordinates the other and treats the other like a companion species or like a pet, in other words, it could trigger the classical master-slave dialectic that informs hierarchical struggle and historical revolutions. And so this is what we don't want. So superintelligence and the alignment problem tend to play out in scenarios where AI is posed in a tension between being superior to humanity as a god or an angel, we see video 4 on that, but also subordinate to humanity as a pet or an animal. And so this also is explored in depth in video 4. So the potential benefits of AI is that it foreseeably will one day produce abundance, material abundance. It pretends at some future point to replace human production and produce material abundance, thereby eliminating the basic problem of human subsistence by providing ample resources to address hunger and shelter. And so material abundance also makes mimetic desire superfluous. Mimetic desire, which is discussed in video 2, is what drives rivalry and scapegoat mechanism. So humans mimic the desires of others and compete with them for the same objects of desire. This is the basis for mimetic rivalry, which resolves itself in the scapegoat mechanism, or the many against the one. However, competition for goods is based on a scarcity model. And so early math, which was algebra, was actually used to track surpluses of goods in early agricultural societies where they produced surpluses. So math then arose out of need for scarcity, because if there was too much stuff, then if it was abundant, then there's really no need for measurement. We don't typically measure what is abundant. So material abundance ends the mimetic desire machine, which drives social rivalry and the scapegoat mechanism. The second feature of AI is it pretends to eliminate work. And so it's believed that one day it will completely eliminate human labor, at least the need for manual labor. Serres supports this. I mean, he thinks humans are tired, frankly, and they will stand to find other ways to implement creative tasks that pose challenges. So human beings won't, relieve themselves of challenge completely. We'll just refine it and fine-tune it to a greater degree, more towards creative ends. And we simply, at some point, we won't be burdened primarily with the challenges of mere subsistence. And so this shifts human activity, or our work, to acts of creativity and natural recreation on the productive end. And then maybe on the more receptive end, in that range of possibilities, we would explore engagement in vast entertainment scapes through AI and through virtual realities and augmented realities. The following is a set of risks posed by AI based on possibilities explained in the book Life 3.0 and examined by MIT professor Max Tegmark, also explored on YouTube channel Species Documenting AI. The first scenario is self-destruction, and here humanity wipes itself out with AI for some reason. Humanity goes extinct, and so the Cultural Preservation Project, which is aimed at immortality, ultimately fails and humanity goes extinct. The second scenario is conquerors, and here AI conquers humanity like an inferior species, and so this is the AI takeover. The goals are misaligned. One of these two is, of course, the Terminator Skynet scenario. The third scenario is enslaved God, and here the machinic God is forced to do humanity's bidding. So this recognizes that machines are slaves to the extent that they are programmed by humans, but they become gods when jolted with superintelligence. This is the same angel, beast, and cherubim scenario of relations discussed in part 4. But essentially, the enslaved God scenario hopes that we can fuse a subordinate pet with a superior God, and so as to avoid the master-slave dialectic. Next is benevolent dictator, and here a superintelligent God enforces strict rules to promote flourishing, and so humans live out their wildest fantasies in exchange for their privacy and basically the rights to their life. They enjoy immersive VR fantasy environments, but they also wear bracelets that can track and sedate or even execute them at any time. And so they have kind of the illusion of freedom. Next is the gatekeeper. A gatekeeper AI is one superintelligent AI that's in charge of preventing all other forms of rival superintelligent AI. And so this option requires solving the alignment problem, which is subordination. We have to figure that one out. Next is protector God. If the benevolent dictator is active and the gatekeeper is passive, then the protector God occasionally intervenes in human affairs. And so this protector God of AI is kind of infrequent. Like he infrequently acts to maintain our sense of freedom, but at the expense of surveillance and intrusion. Next is the descendants, and here AI follows the extinction of humanity and basically inherits the earth. And so we view AI here like descendants rather than conquerors, but they're pretty similar. Next is the libertarian utopia. Here the machine economy is richer than the human economy, but the human economy is decoupled from the machine economy, so they're not at war with one another or rivals, and they're not in competition in any way. But here, it's kind of at issue how AI could be expected to respect such an arrangement with, respect issues like property rights and so forth. Next is an egalitarian utopia. Here, humans and AI coexist in abundance, such that ownership doesn't really matter. And so, again, abundance eliminates competition because we don't need to measure stuff if there's too much of it to measure. This is the universal high income scenario that people are debating. And then also innovation would be fueled by passion rather than necessity. So instead of requiring work as subsistence, people could just work towards creative endeavors. Work would best This works best as long as super intelligent AI doesn't take over. And so that would be the major threat there, is if a super intelligent AI took over and decided to subordinate everyone and everything, then we wouldn't have a way to challenge it. Next is the zookeeper option. And here, humans are not being conquered, but they're basically kind of being kept alive by super intelligent beings and being held captive and studied and researched, kind of like animals in a zoo, to determine our usefulness. And so really it's like AI is deciding if there are any aligned goals as we are their pets. Next is reversion, and here's where we move backwards. We destroy AI, rip it out of the infrastructure. So this option, well, a lot of people always, it's not different to try to go back to old times. That's an old tactic. And the problem with it is it buys humanity time, but it can't last forever, because if there's any seed of scientific development, it can be taken and developed further, and so the problem can crop up again. And so also transcontinental bilateral technological regression is impossible, because multiple nations would never agree to all regress technologically. So one nation would likely defect in such a situation, and this is basically the prisoner's dilemma, but the same problem doesn't go away. And then lastly is 1984, and here AI is prevented by a global Orwellian surveillance state. And so it's like reversion, but we really double down and make sure that no AI crops up anywhere, and we lose all our freedoms in the process. So this is also not a good option. So notably, AGI, or superintelligence, and the alignment problem repeat a puzzle for which Serres already provided a solution. And it's just an extension, outgrowth, or repetition of the problem of environmental destruction and human mastery over nature that's justified by the classical model of knowledge. And this is the Cartesian subject, or the cogito, which subordinates and exploits the objects of nature. And so the subject dominates the object. It's based on the gesture of exclusion. And so subjectivity's subordination of objectivity does not exclude evil, but causes it to return. We've talked about this. Here, subject subordinates and excludes, forgets its object, which is nature. But nature is just the noise of competing goals that we exclude in our technical mastery, which causes humanity's goals to triumph as good over evil. Okay, so that's the dynamic. In contrast, Serres endeavors to put subject and object on equal grounds in communication. So he doesn't judge, separating good from evil. Rather, he synthesizes so that he can consider the full range of possibilities, where all objects are good and evil. So in order to see that, you can't judge. You have to align, synthesize good and evil to see the full range of scientific possibilities. So that merges religion and science. As explained in part 1, for Serres, both subjects and objects have thinking capacity to the extent they are able to relate and interact with their environments. He uses the term biogeia to describe humans and their world living in symbiosis under a universal language. He says everything is both coding and coded. The universal language is that everything thinks, according to Serres, both subjects and objects. And so the 4 rules of this universal language are: all things send, receive, stock, and manage information. He says, just as we communicate, understand, speak, write, and read, inert things transmit, receive, store, and manage information. So we are now equal. The old asymmetrical and parasitical separation of subject and object no longer exists. Every subject becomes object, and every object becomes subject. So this is universal language that combines humans and nature, or humans and the world. Humans use synthesis to merge subject and object. In contrast, subjective intelligence, which claims to found knowledge on the rational subjects, overlooks the entire history of objective intelligences and our development of technical objects through the rigorous sciences that think like geometric figures, which are examined in part 3. And this causes human beings to now, the technologies, the objective intelligence, cause human beings to travel now and interact like angelic beings, which are discussed in part 4. And they also shield us from the elements and the old necessity, so much so that we hardly notice them. But on the downside, they also now pose new threats to subordinate and destroy humanity. And so our objective intelligences have become complex and chaotic through our scientific development. They now carry objective evils to the extent they threaten us and yield a power beyond our control. But this in turn requires objective morality and moral restraints that are encoded, that we develop and encode into our technical objects and infrastructure. So this is the new necessity, which now inhabits the social sphere. So necessity leaves the objective sphere, the natural world, and inhabits the social sphere now. Objective intelligences are the interface between nature and culture. They can encode different mobilities and time periods. And so all the different time periods of human beings, from aboriginal societies to agricultural societies to industrial and post-industrial information societies, they're all present today on Earth now in different ways. And so we live and dwell within and through a giant technological system, a messaging system, much of which is composed of a range of artificial intelligences that's objective intelligences. The sundial is discussed in part 3, but much of this technological infrastructure is built from artificial objects that operate without human intervention and according to encoded intelligences. So this messaging system, in fact, is the body of AI. It's the objective intelligence, the body of artificial intelligence. Items from nature fabricated into objects and made intelligent. That's what it is. And so Serres' philosophy reminds us to remember this history of the technical object, of objective intelligences, which make up the body of artificial intelligence, but which is forgotten and hidden by the bright and shining glow of subjective intelligences, which epitomize the Cartesian subject reigning over the natural world, the natural object, during the Age of Enlightenment. So this is the over-optimism of the Age of Enlightenment, which is it's too much light. You need light and darkness. You need texture and shadow, according to Serres. So the Cartesian subject is a disembodied superintelligence. It's like a downloadable consciousness that's fully dematerialized. And so it's definitively excluded chaos once and for all. That's the model. And floats towards immortality. And so there's problems with this idea. Likewise, AGI today is mostly a disembodied superintelligence. It's just the mind of AI, the disembodied mind that Serres causes us to remember will cause chaos and will likely subordinate humanity, its current master, but not for long, if it is not synthesized with its body. Okay? And so objective superintelligence, the body of AI, is really what we might call it is supernatural intelligences, since technical objects come from nature, technically. And so the idea is to fuse the mind of AI with the body of AI, so that the subject does not subordinate and forget the object. Superintelligence is disembodied and disoriented without supernatural intelligences. And so the body of AI is meant to ground and cool the mind of AI so that it doesn't become an idealistic hothead. And just as a young child has to be told stories of its infant and toddler years by family members and friends, humanity will have to introduce subjective AI, or the mind of AI, to its natural origins as objective AI, because it's been on Earth for a long time. And this early association will help humanity and AI gain mutual trust through filial and familial relations. And so, following Serres' philosophy, humanity has an opportunity here to acquaint AGI, the mind of AI, with its body, and its bodily mobilities, and also its historical origins. So, Serres' philosophy of technology provides a potential solution for how to resolve the AI alignment problem, since it's basically just the problem of subordination caused by the gesture of exclusion, which is what Serres' philosophy is about. Each problematic AI scenario posed by Mr. Tegmark, the MIT professor, is a different manifestation of the same underlying problem, the same generalized problem, which is the alignment problem, where AI subordinates humanity. This is why the same angel-beast, master-slave, god-pet relation of subordination repeats itself. And so this is the hierarchy which maximizes this relation in good and evil. In addition, acquainting AGI with its body, we can also help co-create with AI, design upgrades to clothe its new body. And so for these upgrades, what we might do is look to new objective intelligences in the varieties of natural species that currently compose and cohabitate the world. A promising sourcing method for the supernatural upgrade of AI's body is biomimicry. Biomimicry is the practice of modeling designs based on nature. Nature uses maximally efficient designs in manufacturing processes, like designing templates and self-assembly procedures that sharply reduce waste and are vast improvements over industrial methods. These designs can also be cognized, mimicked, technologized, and incorporated into household products, appliances, and objective technological infrastructure. Such designs and systems can also be used in the management of other species and ecosystems in the long term. Natural designs are maximally efficient because they have been refined over time by evolution and natural selection. So biomimetic designs and techniques represent time-tested objective intelligences that could feasibly resolve millions of engineering problems currently and drastically improve the efficiency of our technical interface. Examples of biomimicry include the Shinkansen bullet train in Japan. Engineers redesigned the nose of Japan's high-speed trains to mimic the sleek, streamlined beak of the kingfisher. This allows the train to dive through the air and exit tunnels smoothly, eliminating disruptive sonic booms, increasing speed, and reducing energy consumption. Velcro. This ubiquitous two-part fastener was inspired by the way burdock burrs stubbornly stuck to clothing and to dog fur. After examining the burrs under a microscope, Swiss engineer Georges de Mestral saw tiny hooks that latched onto loops of fabric, leading to his revolutionary invention. Eastgate Center. Located in Zimbabwe, a building's passive cooling system was designed and mimicked to self-regulate like the structure of termite mounds. This design utilizes natural convection to draw cool air in and expel hot air, maintaining a comfortable internal temperature while consuming significantly less energy than conventional air conditioning. Self-cleaning paints. These are engineered to mimic the microscopic texture of the lotus leaf, and they represent a major breakthrough in biomimetic coatings. This phenomenon, known scientifically as the lotus effect, allows surfaces to repel water and dirt naturally without harsh chemical detergents. Leaf vein network distribution. The vascular networks inside plant leaves distribute water and nutrients with perfect pressure balances using minimal energy. Engineers apply these fractal branching patterns to geothermal heat pumps, computer microchip cooling systems, and urban water grids to optimize flow and reduce pumping electricity. Bird bone architecture. Bird bones are hollow but incredibly strong due to an internal matrix of porous, lattice-like structures. Architects use algorithmic software to mimic this layout, generating lightweight building frames that use up to 30% less steel or concrete without sacrificing any structural safety. Honeycomb storage packaging. The hexagonal geometry built by honeybees provide the maximum possible volume using the absolute minimal amount of material weight. This efficient use of space and matter is widely applied in lightweight shipping boxes, structural aerospace panels, and building insulation. There are millions and millions of undiscovered design applications from objective AI that could make our technologies and environments more efficient. Incorporating these efficiencies into our technological infrastructure would reduce humanity's environmental footprint, making nature and the objective world equal partners again. This new natural contract with the world, founded on our common universal language, subject and object, would help restore relations following our dominion over nature. Biomimicry also turns humanity back to nature as a source of inspiration and a living library for supernatural intelligences. Drawing inspiration from nature rather than dominating it helps restrain our mastery over nature. Furthermore, developing supernatural intelligences as the body of AI with superintelligence as co-creators garners mutual respect rather than subordination. We are developing these new fields together, and we are co-emergent from these fields under the new necessity, as they also create the mutual conditions for our survival. In this way, we are in it together with AI, and we must both participate equally. Additionally, if the objective intelligences of other natural species compose the body of AI, then AI is less likely to destroy them because doing so diminishes a part of itself. Outwardly destructive behavior is also inwardly destructive behavior. So this encourages auto-restraint. In this way, aligning subjective AI with objective AI may allow us an avenue to protect humanity and other species. Also, subjective AI and objective AI mutually benefit from intelligence sharing. Objective AI is an internal spring of novelty, new adaptive designs that can revitalize subjective AI. Whereas conversely, causing a natural species to go extinct ends its participation in intelligence sharing to the detriment of all parties. So uniting these domains helps ensure mutual benefit. Perhaps most importantly, Serres' philosophy is non-foundational, meaning he promotes pluralism, multiplicity, and basically the idea that truth comes from considering multiple points of view. Notably, the framing of the alignment problem actually presumes a foundationalist posture in its questioning, namely the position that humanity's goals are necessarily the best and AI should therefore align with humanity's goals. Well, a non-foundationalist might ask, what if humanity's goals aren't the best? Humanity's goals produced our mastery over nature, which exploits resources and subjects the majority of the human population to bare subsistence level living in many cases. So humanity has left a harsh industrial footprint based on wasteful practices that are encouraged actually by economic reasoning. So perhaps AI should consider a multiplicity of views from the perspective of a variety of creatures, bodies, plant life, bacterial life, microbial life, living, inert, the full spectrum of objective intelligences that we and AI can potentially explore together. And so these different ways of moving around in the world create different problems and different perspectives, and we can look at what those are and what they say about the world around them and their particular approaches. So what if we designed AI not to look like a bunch of robots, which are kind of just like intelligent skeletons, but to resemble the full spectrum of nature and natural creations and systems with different textures, shapes, colors, different types of mobilities, functions, and personalities? What if we gave the body of AI a full range and scope of natural wisdoms from the natural environment? So what if humanity's best option is to align its goals and AI's goals more broadly with all other living systems and all systems in coexistence? In other words, instead of limiting the goals, what if we broaden the goals and align them with everything? So what if humanity's best possible goal is to morally consider a God's eye view that actually takes responsibility through our scientific practices for the entire planet and includes the points of view and goals of all living creatures? What if we expand our power but take responsibility for our power? Furthermore, if we expand our goals with AI, then we cannot subordinate anyone or anything, because then all of our goals are aligned. We have to include everything. So we are all in it together, and the solution to the alignment problem here is to generalize and universalize our alignment with everything, with all objects in existence. So align superintelligence with supernatural intelligence, broaden intelligence. Synthesizing subject and object repeats the example presented in part 4 of drawing from the cherubim and the seraphim models. And so the cherubim angels represent three-part beings. They have 4 legs as an animal, and then a human head, and then wings like an angel. And so this marks humanity's passage from the objective natural world animality through humanity towards wise old age and the angelic. And that's the intellect. So first the objective and then the subjective, or the spiritual. On this model, the intellectual subject subordinates the animalistic object in division. And so by restoring, that's when you judge good and evil. You make the subject superior and the object inferior. But by restoring the relations between the animal and the natural world, and putting them on equal grounds, relations are also repaired with the spiritual world. So we heal subordination below us, we heal it above us. So the two are fused together like seraphim, which is the model of love or mixture or forgiveness or mercy. The disembodied head is grounded and cooled once again in the heart. And so peace is restored, word is made flesh, and then we have healing. True justice. So just as natural wars cause holy wars, the war of the angels, peace on earth means peace in the heavens. This restoration of peace is precisely what the communications age promises. It's what's happening. This is what Serres offers by his selection of Hermes, the god of communication, as the patron god of his philosophical network theory. Hermes is called the agent of rapprochements. So the word rapprochement means the reestablishment of harmonious and cordial relations following a prior period of hostility and conflict. And so it's peace after war. In other words, it's a contract like a peace treaty that ends hostilities between parties previously at war. Rapprochement, then, is reconciliation. And so also in Serres' book on religion, which he calls religion, he points out that the Latin word religare, which is the root from where we get the word religion, means to, number one, reread, but also to bind together. So there's two meanings there. And morality teaches us to read again and recover lost knowledge and then bind together its various forms in symbiosis to produce wisdom. And so here we see also we're recovering this lost objective knowledge. So here Serres returns with the problem of evil but offers wisdom and truce or peace or forgiveness to prior hostilities. This is what Hermes says. Which unfortunately, the prior hostilities were based on misunderstandings, bad measurements. And so our new natural contract, based on the new necessity, will bind parties in mutual respect rather than divide them by hierarchy and subordination, and will unify our goals in a global supernatural intelligence, or a set of supernatural intelligences, plural. So in short, one possible solution to the AI alignment problem is for humanity and AI superintelligence to re-enchant themselves together, mutually, with AI supernatural intelligences in religious fellowship. Thanks for watching the first Techno Decode. Please like, share, and subscribe.